Hi everybody, today we're doing Haskell on TryHackMe. If you don't know, this is a play on word on the programming language Haskell, I'm pretty sure. So it says something about a university professor and the fact that his PhD is in security, so this is a little hint on what we need to do. Most likely going to be a Haskell server we're going to need to compromise. So if we open up the terminal, you can see I did an nmap scan with a service version and a common script with the aggressive tag on this IP address. We can see first thing that we have two ports open, SSH and a 5001 HTTP server that is running Gunnycorn, I think. And we can check out the service version for any exploits. So if you just do exploits, I checked and I couldn't find anything. I think the best I could find was this, which isn't the version we're running. It's a bit of a more outdated version. So this must be, so it shows that this is must be latest version of whatever that was running. So if we just grab the IP address and just head on over to this server, well, to the website, we should hopefully be able to see something. And the first thing we can see is welcome to the functional programming 220. So we can see this is you just pretty much talking about the Haskell programming languages, and you can see find your homework here. So let's see, we can find in your program. So we can see homework, and we can see submit your homework here. So if you click here, we can submit homework, and this is upload. So one thing this got me out straight away is just running GoBuster. So I'm pretty sure since we can submit your homework here, we must be able to at least GoBuster it. So if I just GoBuster and just find a directory that it is running in. So if we can upload homework on the website, there must be like a place where we can upload it. And we can straight away we get submit. So if we just copy this and put this in the URL, submit, we should be able to at least submit something. So one thing is this room said is HaskHell, and the website also talked about Haskell. So let me open this again, this website, so we can see it's talking about this programming language. And since we can upload something, we might be able to like upload a reverse shell for an easy win. If you do Haskell reverse shell, you can see I've already searched this up before, and we could use the top one, but Rev Shells is a really good website, and I was really happy when I could see this, as this could be like a quick win if we could upload a reverse shell. I don't know why my browser's taking a little bit to load it up, but you can see we can upload our assignments here, which is a good hint that we could upload at least a reverse shell. You can see I put it in my IP address on TryHackMe, so I'm just going to copy this. But the thing is, since I never written in Haskell before, I know how to use Haskell, I would at least want to know how to use it, well, how to save the file as. So we know it's Haskell file. Let's just put Haskell file, and it should at least tell us how to save the file as. So we can see it needs a .hs extension at the end. So we at least know that's what we're gonna need. So I'm gonna close this quickly, and I'm gonna go over to my downloads directory so I don't clutter up my home directory. So if I do rev.hs for Haskell, and I'll get the reverse shell and just copy it in, and we can see if this works. And I'm just gonna copy this because I'm a bit lazy than typing it out. I'll just copy it in. So we can see I'm starting a netcat listener on the port 4000 and 4848. And if I click browse and go to my downloads directory, I'm just gonna click this. It is up and running, and this is a good sign as it's timing out. This will take a little bit because one thing I figured out, which is quite different to PHP reverse shells, is that this is gonna take a while to upload. So we're gonna let this load up for a bit, and it may take a little bit. So I'm gonna go back quickly. So okay, it's finished loading, and we can see we got a reverse shell. If you do ID, we can see we're running as a Flask. If you don't know what Flask is, it's a way to run Python in a web server pretty much. It's like Node.js, but for Python. So we can see we're running in a Python web app pretty much. And if you do pwd, we can see we're in the Flask directory. And if we do ls, we can see prof, which stands for professor. So if we do crat, etc., password, we can see we got this user here, the professor user, So this is a good hint that this is the way forward by going into the professor's directory. And if we do ls, we can see we get user.txt. We can cut that out. We can cut user.txt, but I've already done that. So I'm just going to go into the ssh directory. So if we do cd ssh and if we do ls, we can see we get an id RSA key, which could be used to log in as the professor without a root password. So if we do bridge python 3, we can see we've got python 3 installed. So if we do python and http server, what this will do is start a Python server on the port 8000, I'm pretty sure. So if I do wget, and you can see this is just going to do a wget with the URL. This is going to be the victim's URL, so I'm going to get the IP address for the machine and put that in. We can see port 8000, which is the default port that the HTTP server runs in Python. So if I press enter, we can see we were able to cut this over. Well, we get it over. So if I'm going to move this quickly to home hacker downloads, because I don't want this in my home directory, as this is going to clutter things up. So if I do change mod 600 for IDRSA, as this is the permissions you need to use a IDRSA key. So this command will run SSH to connect as the user professor with the IDRSA. So IDRSAs can be used instead of password to log in as this user. They tend to be more secure, as long as they don't get leaked, that is, because you can't really brute force an IDRSA key unless you can find it through some misconfiguration, which we were able to exploit. And we can see we're running as the professor user. So we can see we haven't got like a proper shell, which is a bit annoying. So we can just do python 3 tty shell. What this will do is give us a proper like interactive shell in a way that's better than the shell we have. So we're upgrading our shell. If I press enter, we can see that I have a proper shell now, a bash shell at least you could say. You do ls-la, we can see we are in this user directory, and if we just do sudo-l, we can see we can run flask as root, which is really powerful. So if I just copy this and just type in PrivEsc in Google, which is what the first thing I did. So if I do PrivEsc and just put that into Google, and we can see the first thing at the top, PrivEsc escalation Linux basics, which is a good sign. We're on the right track. So right here, this gives us an example what we could run to get a root shell. So we can see it's importing a pty shell, and it's spawning it as flask.py, and it's exporting it. So this is pretty much setting this as the header of the Flask app. So when we run this binary, it's gonna run this specific file here, flask.py, and it's gonna run this as root. As we, if we do sudo -l, if I can spell as well, you can see we can run this as root, which could give us an example where we could go to PrivEsc. But personally, I think there's a better way of doing this on GTFO bins. So if I just go to GTFO bins for a second, and if we just go to sudo, we can see right here, it gives us an example of a code, and this will just pop us a root shell, hopefully, if we do everything right. So to start things off, we could just create a Python file. So if I just go back to terminal for a second, if I just do echo, and if we just grab, well, we'll say we're borrowing this code. So if we borrow this from GTFO bins, and we paste this in, we can see this is going to import us a OS, import OS. It's going to call import OS, and it's going to spawn a bin bash, bin sh shell as root. So if I just save it as please.py to ask if it will work for us, hopefully. So if we just press enter, we can see it should have at least created us a file in the temp directory. So if we just copy this here, since we haven't saved it as in the current directory, we saved it in a different directory, so we'll need to call the location or specify the path, I guess you could say it is. So we specify the path and press enter again, and if we do sudo flask run, we can see we get a root. We can see we got a hash down, and we can see we're running it as root. So if I go to root and do ls, we can see we can cat root. So if we do ls.la, we can see we can read root, and this is just this room done.